Here we go, coming at you with turn 4. We've dealt, we've shuffled in the mid-war cards to the draw pile. We've dealt the cards. Let's take a look at the hands. Well, rather, let's take a look at the board first. We still remain at a standstill in Asia, 3-3 battlegrounds. The Russians have de facto domination of the Middle East. They would like to get one non-battleground for domination. The Americans dominate Europe. The Americans have 2 battlegrounds in Africa, and the Russians have domination of Central America. Taking a look at the hands here, first for the Russians, East European unrest we've seen before. Ask not what your country can do for you, lets the Americans take as many cards as they want and discard them and draw new ones. Bear Trap, the Americans have to discard a card worth 2 or more and then roll to cancel and then do the same thing every turn. Let's see, Puppet Governments. U.S. may add 1 influence in 3 countries that currently contain no influence. Portuguese Empire crumbles. Add 2 Soviet influence in both the Southeast African states and Angola. Liberation Theology. Add 3 Soviet influence in Central America, no more than 2 per country. Ussuri River Skirmish, which we were worried about. That's why the U.S. held onto the China card in the first place, it would seem. If the Soviets have it, the Americans get it. If the U.S. already has it, they get 4 in Asia, 2 per country. U2 incident, Soviets gain 1 VP. If UN intervention played, additional VP. Coming over here to the American side. As you can see here, scoring Central, Europe scoring, Southeast Asia scoring, Africa scoring. Summit, both players roll a die, each add 1 for each region they dominate or control. High roller gains 2 VP and may move DEFCON in either direction. It's probably going to be the headline card. Maybe. Camp David Accords, U.S. gains 1 VP, U.S. adds 1 in Egypt, Israel, and Jordan. Junta plays 2 influence in any one Central or South American country, then you can make coup or realignment rolls. Salt negotiations, improve DEFCON 2 levels. Further coup attempt incur -1 for both players. Player may sort through discard pile and reclaim 1 non-scoring card after showing it to the opponent. Panama Canal return to add 1 U.S. influence in Panama, Costa Rica, and Venezuela. We need to find some headline cards out of these hands. They're not, none of them are particularly good at the moment, it would seem. I was considering Summit because I know the Soviets would really like to get the coup in. But the Russians have Panama, so maybe the Russians are thinking that I'm going to try to lower the DEFCON so they can't. Interesting. I know the Russians know that I would like to coup Panama, so they may lower the DEFCON in the headline to prevent that. But the Russians also know that I have Algeria, and they would like to coup Algeria, and they will get the first turn. So I don't think they'll degrade DEFCON status. That'd be fairly ridiculous. So Summit lets both players roll a die, add 1 for each region they control or dominate, and may move DEFCON in either direction. I need the VP. I got all these scoring cards. I'm going to try to rush as the Americans to the finish. So not only do I get 2 VP if I win, I can move the DEFCON to 2, negating the Russians' coup of Algeria that they will most likely take. And so I think Summit is a good idea. I also considered Salt negotiations to redraw special relationship from the discard pile. There's not a whole lot of discard pile cards in here that are worth 3 ops with Salt negotiation to take. But I may do that later in the turn if I really need 2 VP and I can get it and I can win that way. Interesting. First of all, Summit headline card. There we go. Kind of 3 choices here. U2 incident is really worth 3 ops only. It's really not worth that. Add 2 in Southeast African states and Angola. We would like the access to Africa because we're really not getting any. But Liberation Theology will give us Mexico, and if the Americans have Central America scoring, we'll have control. That'll be a big chunk of points. I know Africa scoring, South America scoring has not been played. Africa, I really need some presence there. You know, if I knew the Americans' hand, I could make an easier choice, but I think we're going to go with liberation theology. Add 3 in Central America. So, same time. Liberation theology, add 3 USSR influence in Central America. That's 2 in Mexico. And we may as well just do another one in Panama. It gives the Russians control of Central America. Meanwhile, Summit, both players roll a die. Each adds 1 for each region they control or dominate. At the moment, the Russians control Central America and the Americans dominate Europe. And that's actually the only thing, because the Russians don't dominate the Middle East. They don't have any non-battlegrounds. The Americans don't dominate South of Africa for the same reason. Nobody controls or dominates Asia because of equal battlegrounds, so it's just even chances. Alright, Americans win. They get 2 VP, up to 8, and move the DEFCON to 2. Not only that, but they also get the effect of NORAD activates. And they get 1 influence in a place they already have it. And in this case, it's going to be the UK. Because of that SALT negotiations to special relationship play that we talked about before. Alright, that's done. Headline card for the Russians. The Russians don't like any of these cards. They can't coup anymore. What are they going to do? Central America scoring, South America scoring, Africa scoring is what we're worried about. Now I'm going to play Portuguese Empire. Crumbles. Because, once again, we need the Africa scoring. So 2 in Angola, 2 in Southeast African states. As the Americans, I'm cursing myself now because I have to play this Africa scoring card. I don't have domination. I don't have anything anymore. I've only got a net result of 1 point with Africa scoring. I don't really see much else I can do with this except the China card. See, if they see me take a non-battleground, though, he's just going to take his Zaire. It's going to really mess me up. I'm going to... Oh, I want to use the China card in Southeast Asia for this, so I'm actually going to do 3 ops. I'm not going to do this into special relationship. Hopefully we'll get some more ops later. SALT negotiations for 3 points. As the Americans, I'm going to do 2 to put 1 in Thailand. Why? So I can take some of those Southeast Asian countries. The Russians, if they're being alert, will recognize this as a play for Southeast Asia. I've got 1 more op, though. Where am I going to put it? I'm the Americans. I didn't really want to goad them into cooing Saharan states by taking it. Or Botswana or anything else like that. Where am I going to put it? What am I going to do? 1 op. I'm going to put it in South Africa, I think. Make that better. Actually, hold on. Now, I may have to wait till next turn. I may have to really smartly play these cards, because I'm going to have 1... I may have to hold on to the China card again, because I really need to play 2 more plays before I play those scoring cards. So that's 3 ops. Russians' turn. 3 ops, let's see. Three ops, definitely. It's easy choice. Botswana for the realignment opportunity of South Africa. And actually, I think all in Botswana. Make a coup less succulent. That's that. At that stage, a coup of Southeast African states is the... See, a coup of Southeast African states would give the U.S. domination of Africa. However, then that opens the door for a Russian realignment of South Africa. And I can lose my domination, so I don't know if I should even bother. I might as well take the 1 point and not risk no points. So Africa scoring is 1 point for the Americans. Let's try and get away from that. The Russians have not a lot of cards left that they would like to play. They don't want to play any of these, rather. Bear Trap does solve some issues in getting rid of these cards, but I don't know. I'd rather space first and see what the Americans do. Playing this would force them into playing the China card. Probably, or not force them, but it would make the China card a better play. I'm gonna space that. Space Usuri River Skirmish. Russians need 1 to 4 to move up. The roll is 5. No advance. The Americans' turn. They see that. Play the China card as expected. They're gonna do 3 to flip Laos, Cambodia. And by flip, I mean put a total of 3, and that gives them 2 points because they had to put an extra 1 to break it. And then an additional 2 to put 1 in Vietnam. Okay, Russians, they still don't have any cards they want to play. East European unrest, they can put all these points back, it would seem. So 3 points to cancel itself. The Americans take 1 from East Germany, Poland, and Yugoslavia. The Russians use 3 ops to put that straight back. That's fine. Lucky break for the Americans. They play Southeast Asia scoring now that they have the advantage. The Americans get +1 for Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Laos, Cambodia. That's 4 points. And the Russians gain 2 for Thailand. That's a total of 2, net 2 for the Americans to 11. Russians, not happy about that. They're not happy about much of anything with this hand. This is probably the best thing to play. We don't know what the Americans have. Obviously, we'd like to make them hold on to Lone Gunman or whatever card they have. For 3 points, definitely, to put 1 point in Thailand. And 2 more, I'll take Libya at this stage. The effect happens. The U.S. may discard up to all cards in their hand. They're actually not going to discard anything with this hand. They want all these cards. These are all good cards. So that happens. That's discarded. Europe scoring, I think, for the Americans. That's 5 points for the Americans. Total of 16 points. It's still pretty good. The Russians can't really do much about anything. They'd like not to have to play this. They'd like not to have to play this. This is the last play. If I played this, the Americans are going to indefinitely put some points in South America and then spread around there annoyingly. Puppet governments for 2 points. The 2 points are going to be in Zaire. That way the Americans can only put 1 in Nigeria. They'll put 1 in Nigeria. It's 3 countries. And then Brazil and Venezuela for the access. Americans' last turn. A lot of good choices here. I think 1 VP is preferable. We'll hold off on that because we'll see what kind of South America scoring or Central America scoring we get, if anything. Camp David Accord, U.S. gains 1 VP up to 17. They are going to coup Southeast African states. No. They want the effect. They want the effect for the VP. However, they get 2 VP if they coup, because the Russians won't be able to coup and they won't get the ops. What to do? I'll use the effect. Hopefully we'll get some points next turn. 1 in Egypt, 1 in Israel, 1 in Jordan. Nothing to worry about Arab-Israeli war anymore. Not that I was really worried about it, but I wanted the VP more than anything. Into the round, nobody made any ops, so nobody loses or gains anything. This goes up. China card gets flipped. The Russians have it. Turn 5. 17 points for the Americans. It's not looking too good. Everything's gonna come down to this turn. Let's see what happens. We'll come back with turn 5.